Hi, my name is Brina.
Hi, I'm Natasha.
Hi, I'm Charis.
Hi, I'm Dayna.
And we're part of the 11 artists participating in our show Common Daisies at Art Outreach. We're also currently studying at NTU ADM. So the exhibition is titled Common Daisies, and as the title suggests, it's about daisies or weeds, if you would, growing by the roadside or sometimes in environments that are almost too manicured, and talks about the collective resilience about the 20-year-old group that we are and how we are growing like clusters of daisies by the roadside. So this show is a lot about family dialogues, societal questions about the environment that we are going in and how we are responding to the environment through our artworks. We didn't really begin with a theme in mind, but during our critiques, which is the weekly lessons that we have, and we're all having a round table, all 11 of us, we started like throwing words that were related to our works and how like the words could encompass all our works if possible. And then I think I brought out like this book title that I was reading at that time. It's called The Unbearable Lightness of Being, I think. And then Derek shortened it down to tulips, like Tulib. Yes. Then what happened?
Our lecturer, Prof. Ang Song Nian, suggested that we just call our exhibition Daisies, like just the flowers itself.
Yeah, then it was like daisies, and then Charis like,
I went to search up like the meaning of what like daisies meant, and then the English title of it was actually just common daisies, which is like Paris, Benedis or something like that. I forgot. Yeah, the term was quite hard. Then after that, they were just like, okay, let's just use the term common daisies then.
yeah. So in the end, it was more about deciding it was the common daisies or common daisies. Yeah. Right from the start, we all had very different ideas about what we wanted to do. Like for example, Dayna's work is a projection enclosed in a frame, and then Brina's work is about a full-size installation. It was more about thinking about how our works were similar in the themes. So initially, I wanted to put Brina and Dayna's work together because they started off with a question about the monotony about life. So our works had parallel to each other like that. Yeah, so for like Charis's work, it was about family, and then we also have Yong's work, which is about family, but portrayed in two very different mediums and two different lenses. So we didn't really have to worry about us being similar to each other because I think the human experience is pretty universal. It's just the way of expression was different. Yeah, so were you guys worried about that?
I mean, in the beginning maybe, yeah, when after hearing everyone's like pitch at the start, but slowly as like things started to get like come together, it turned out like really cohesive. Yeah.
I think for us it wasn't so much of a worry because like at the end of the day we are all like presenting something that came like birth from our hearts, right? Like concerns and the matters that we had that birth from like our most inner psyche. And I think like Natasha really did a really good job in like trying to like gel everything together and finding like really like a common ground for us to like take root in. Yeah.
My work is titled Why Did the Sky Turn Grey? So initially my idea came when naturally it was about to rain. So when I always had this like relationship with nature in a way where I compare myself to nature, and a lot of my works also has this like relationship with nature and like the different aspects of like how nature changes and develops, same as how humans change and develop. And I wanted to create this work because I wanted to highlight the strongest emotion that could change a human's life, and that would be loss and grief. That's personally my take on it. And I wanted to create a whole exhibition or installation on it because it was very prominent. The topic of loss and grief is very prominent in my life, and I wanted to show this personal aspect to it. And but I didn't want to like fully show a transparent version of that of my loss. And in a way, I use nature to like mask that aspect and like use nature to have that relationship between or like compare myself to it and portray it to others.
My work is called In Bad Faith, and at the beginning of the whole artwork, I had a question about how to paint in a photograph, and I learned about the process chemigrams from teaching workshops with one of somebody I knew that I was freelancing for, and seeing children like create with that sense of wonder that I thought I lost in myself. Because I used to be able to paint, but I think after a while I just couldn't paint anymore, and I also scared of painting, and I just felt so lost and restricted, and I was like going through a phase in school. I was like, should I drop out? Is this for me? This is not for me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna be intentional about it and try to figure out how to paint in a photograph if that is what will make me do art again. But I think I also was quite lost in a way that I did not know how to start, and I did not know what to paint again. So I had to reach like deep inside for emotional fuel to do it. But in the end, I think in that frustrating process also made me realize that even if I did not have an answer to whatever I was trying to figure out, that itself was an answer. So that kind of question answer process like manifested in the way I worked also, because I worked with zero plans, just going by instinct. So when I made the work, I wanted to really just rely on my emotions to create the visuals. That was also the process for the work.
So the title of my work is called My Existential Crisis is a Pain in the A, star. So it's inspired by my time during my gap year after I graduated from Polytechnic. I was learning about like digital visual effects, so like creating CGI elements in the 3D space. But I had a burnout, so after that I took a gap year, and I worked at this internship company for 7 months. And during that 7 months, I was a bit upset and a bit down because I didn't really know what I wanted to do like after Polytechnic. And so I felt like I was going to work, then coming back home. It felt like a loop, like a limbo. And so this work actually represents like my limbo during that state in my life, where I felt lost and I just kept repeating life over and over again, and it felt very monotonous. So I guess this work also kind of inspires me to like take a look at my life now and just kind of embrace the little moments, like the beautiful moments. Like I used a POV setting for my work because I wanted to capture like my life as it is. Like every day it's a cycle, but somehow there's something beautiful in it. And I guess the struggle that I faced was basically coming up with the idea. Like I didn't know at all what I wanted to do, but I did know that I wanted to represent the feeling of feeling like you don't know what you want to do, like existential crisis. And so I think my professor kind of gave me an idea. He told me that if you don't know what to do, just do something first, just start on something. Anything, just start. And that's what I did. I took a few footages from my overseas trip and then I compiled it into an edit. And that's when it started to become a film. And that's how my project started, yeah.
Okay, so my work is called like Heart, but the here is like bracketed. The inspiration for this work is actually from a conversation that I had with my father. Yeah, so honestly speaking, this work is very, very personal to me. Yeah, simply because it's like birthed from a familial relationship that I don't often talk about, simply because like my father is not one to speak a lot, to have conversations a lot about his emotions. Yeah, and like having a conversation that kind of like touched inner part of his heart deeper than usually like what we would have was something very surprising for me. Yeah, and actually it kind of like birthed off from this thinking of what I wanted to do for this project. It actually started off with me wanting to have conversations with people. Yeah, but then like I dug in deeper into like what I actually wanted to do, and I realized that actually I really wanted to have a conversation with my dad. Yeah, and so like I just put that plan into action and finally had a conversation with him. Yeah, so honestly the challenges of this was evidently like trying to present it in a way that could best capture my entire emotion and the conversations that I had with him and how I actually felt. Yeah, in a sense, like in essence, like revealing a heart, my heart towards him. Yeah, and stories that only could be understood by my father. Yeah, and also like kind of put forth towards the audience as well, like in a relation with their father and their relationship, together.
Okay, so in our exhibition, all 11 of us, we now know each other, but before that, we did not really know some of us, and some, to me, I did not know. So I did not know Brina, I did not know Dayna, because I was a photo major and they're a film major. So this is my first time ever crossing paths with them. Oops. And actually talking to them and learning about their works as well. And also they had not really joined like any photo critics or photo classes at all. So they were also new to the way that we worked. And in this show, I think my role was like the curator, but mainly it's also knowing their works very well and having them to trust me. So I think it was not easy because we really didn't know each other at the start. So this was hard to be like, oh yeah, okay, I trust you 100%, no fully. But by the end of it, this exhibition, it did work 100%.
I mean, at first when we first started, I think me and Dayna might feel the same way on this, where we feel like a bit like an outsider coming into a new world, because like we really even though we knew of the photo kids and like them, but we didn't know them like how they work and like what are the work that they did previously, or even like how a critique session even goes. So it was a very big learning curve for both of us, and like when we got used to it, I feel like we bonded a little bit better over this exhibition.
Critic session felt like a therapy session.
Yeah, it was like a therapy session. It was like very different from how film crits are, because film crits are like pitching your films and all that. But for photo, it's like you're speaking for yourself. So it was a bit different from like how we used to do it previously. But yeah, it was very interesting when we first came in, and I feel like we felt at home after a while, yeah.
Yay! I think maybe like setting up how many days was it?
It was like from the setup day, from Visak day, we worked our ass off all the way to the opening day.
It's like 4 full nights.
Yeah, and we at one night we went back at like 4 a.m. Because we had to shift things around and the lighting and all that. It was like so. We never did this, we have never done this before in our lives.
It was also your first time like doing electrical trunking, right?
It was like, I don't know what trunking is.
Funny because at one moment I was so tired, I was falling asleep, right? And then Brina was just like, okay, let's go, let's do this together. Yeah, and then I was like,
This small little drill just like at 3 a.m.
I can speak for like the whole show. Like when I was thinking about the whole show, I realized that we were not really trying to make art in that way, but it was more about finding methods that we could use to tell our own personal stories. So I would think like this exhibition is more accessible. We're not like trying to put ourselves as very fantastic people, because really we're not. We're just like daisies swaying and trying to find our way to talk about things that matter to us. But we are also not trying to be anything. I think that will be a relatable part in our show, because the human experience is universal, and nobody said that we were gonna make something big, but we only want to make something for ourselves.
I think a lot of our works are very personal to us, and I think that's one of the commonality we have amongst each other, is that we wanted to speak from our hearts when we are presenting our works for this exhibition. And I don't know about the rest, but like for me personally, this was very personal. Like it was a very personal piece for me to work with, and for me, I wanted to, hopefully for audiences or visitors who come and look at my installation, to walk away understanding what I felt or would like to portray through my work, and then have that relatability when they walk away with it.
I think for me, I would think my artwork is there to make people feel things, like feel emotions. It can be confusion, it can be happiness, it can be sadness. I just want people to look at my artwork and just be present and just absorb themselves into it.
For me, I think the best thing that I feel the audience can take away is when they look at my work, or actually like any of our works, right, is to be inspired. Yeah, like to in a sense, like maybe for Natasha's, like to explore, to let go of control. Yeah, and like for Dayna, it's maybe like relatability of being in a state of stuckness, and maybe like for Brina, it's like, oh, the sky is so grey, like I'm gonna cry, just cry. Yeah, like when you need to cry, just cry. Yeah, and then for the rest of our works, like for Derek's, in his heart is so nostalgic. Yeah, and for mine, I think that really is to just have conversations with each other. Yeah, like conversations with people who matter to you. Yeah, and that especially your family. Yeah, because they are the people who are closest to you, and you see them day in, day out. Yeah, but actually for a lot of us, those are the people that we don't communicate as much as our friends. Yeah, and I think it's a pity. Yeah, because they are the people who are closest to you, and at the end of the day, like they are the people who can and will support you. Yeah.
I think we can talk a little bit about like how this space worked for us. At the very beginning, we were looking at a ton of spaces. We even went to look at Tuas warehouse listings. Okay, finding a space is, so hard. We were like, hello, property agent. And then there were people who ghost us. So having like this space that is intended for art to display, having like just the basic facilities was like a it was godsend. Like, not gonna lie, it was that hard to find a space. And I think we were also lucky that this space was not too big or not too small for the 11 of us in the best way possible, because we were first time exhibiting, right? We don't know anything. So if it was like a huge space, we could not have finished within the 4 nights we were overnighting. It was impossible. But also because we had a constraint to work with, we didn't overdo things, I think. Yeah, everybody had a space that it could, like, all our works could breathe in by themselves and still look good together. I think that was like the bonus about having this space as well. Yeah.
It was not all like simple also, like especially Natasha, who painstakingly curated every single one of our works and like where it should be placed in the space. And like because this space was it had a very interesting layout to it, and like we had to kind of like let our work, and plus our works are really huge. Like it's not like a small installation, it's like big installations. So like and then like seeing how people would walk through the exhibition was another interesting way to think about like how like we wouldn't know like how like, or like visitors who would want to like see what works they want to see first, or where would they walk in the exhibition. So claps to Natasha for doing this, because it's not easy to like plan such huge installation works in such a space.
I mean, personally for me, right, it didn't feel real until like the opening day.
It still doesn't feel now, like it doesn't.
All this all like you mentioned, right, it was very, we put out works for students, and we put out works to like kind of like get critiques. Like it's like like we just, okay, let me just put it out and get a grade and it's done, like you don't really have this like showcase on this scale. So I think it was a very eye-opening experience, and like in the sense that it really was like so surreal. I was just like, oh wow, it's actually real. Like our works are not just in classrooms anymore on the PowerPoint slide. or like you just talk in a bunch of like 11 of us, you know, it's like showcased to like so many people, and like so many people actually came. I think that also surprised me a lot.
I think our opening day was the most shocking one, where you like see so many people who come and like visit our works.
Questions for us.
Yeah. That was the most shocking. I was like, wow, you really want to get to know.
I didn't know they would do that. I think not, for me now, not like so deep, but I was just touched to actually see like real people interacting with my work, because we don't have that if it's like in school. And then they're also curious about what we do, which is even better.
Refreshing.
Yeah, like they're like just like them having questions for us was like, oh, why did you choose to do this? Why do you want to talk about this?
Yes, and the why questions are so different from like how like the professors will ask you, you know. It's like not like why do you do this? That kind is like the why. Yeah, correct. Without being like, oh my god, like am I doing something wrong if I don't explain this correctly?
Yeah, the nice why question.
I think all of us are still like figuring out what we want to do. I'm not sure about y'all, but like I am ready to take a long break. But yeah, not too long. But like a good break after this exhibition. But as of now, not really a lot of like big plans ahead. I guess final year project and like thinking about what we want to do and what we want to show again. Yeah.
Like how do we put another side of us out again? Cause it's like this was a lot. Yeah. this exhibition was a lot. So I think we are at like slightly more relaxed now before like our brain starts kicking in and the creativity starts kicking in again. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I would like a break for a while.
Just a tiny little break.
To refresh my brain.
Go for a hot bath, just like.
I would like to maybe go out more and be more spontaneous with my work. Like just go out and take my camera along, just snap anything, take videos, things like that. I think that's what makes photography and art so interesting, is that anything can have meaning to it, you know, as long as you have a story to tell.
Everything changes when you come in a space, but I think to want to put your work out there is a very huge start already, because there's a lot of fear, I think, with like us, with myself, that people might not like it. That, oh, I don't think it's good enough to be placed on the wall. It's actually gonna be like in my room, that's enough. But I think first you have to believe that your work can live beyond where you think it can. And then number two is to trust your friends a lot if you're doing a good show. Because if you have zero trust in your friends, or actually like, not maybe trust, but believing that you guys can do it together is just good enough already, because you guys could be enemies, but y'all still can work it out. It's doable, actually. Trust me, yeah. And yeah, no plan is ever to.
I don't think you can ever prep like fully and make no mistakes. Yeah, because we went through a lot of trial and error to get everything out. Yeah.
And even as things are like put up properly right now, I would say like there are still things that could be done better. And I think that's just the whole process of it. There's no perfect exhibition, there's no perfect artwork, but you can decide like when it is good enough and when you can actually put your works. Yeah. And I always say I think it was pretty worth it to do this thing. Yeah. No regrets. No regrets at all. Special thanks. Special thanks to
Our lovely professor.
Can we see that? Special thanks to really could not have happened without a song, because
He stayed like late at night trying to help us set up and get this whole thing out on time also.
I think because we had a very trustworthy adult to hear our thoughts also, then we were also sure that we could do it and not. Yeah, I think yes, ourselves. Thinking very fun. Yeah, so that's our version of song, by the way. There are many versions of this. But that's the one that one of our artists, Yong, drew also. So major thanks to Song, and of course thanks to all of us and our team as well. Because without them, this place is nada.
And not existed.
Yay. That's all? Yeah. All right. Thank you guys.